Yes, that is hockey.
I know. No, I'm saying. Yeah, that's hockey, right? I know my sports. I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm hanging with you. I studied up on my sports ball references.
You got the Paul George
here.
one a few weeks ago. I was impressed.
I was gonna. You stole that one from me. I was so sad.
I felt bad. I'm gonna have to stop reading your notes when you're not looking.
This notebook is for my eyes. I'm gonna put a lock on it. Keep out. No J-House allowed.
Yes, clearly that will keep me from reading it.
All right, we're going to Sky Temple. What are your thoughts on Sky Temple?
BBJ said in his interview he wants to keep the cheese away. And we know that Dahaka Fallstead is a thing for No Tomorrow. It could very easily come out here. We saw an Abathur ban, I believe, no, we didn't see that. It was earlier in the day. An Abathur ban will definitely be coming out here. There's no way Abathur makes it past first ban unless No Tomorrow wants to embrace the Abathur and maybe come up with something of their own. It's just, I think the Abathur's going to be banned out. But Dahaka Fallstead, if you want to hit that global, but can you afford to give up a Johanna who can contest the boss? Can you afford to give up a Hanzo who can take the boss? Do a number of things with Crow in his hands. I just, No Tomorrow better have a very good strategy to disrupt HeroesHearth, because that train is full steam ahead after that first game.
It is. HeroesHearth will be in first pick, which means they can't blaze Johanna in the same rotation unless they leave it and then can get it in their 2-3.
Feels bad, man.
If HeroesHearth wants to stop a lot of the globals, this might be the place, but they banned Genji last time. And as I talked about in the draft of the first game, they have not played Genji since they brought Arthalon back after his vacation. So I'm wondering if they'll want to ban Genji here, if Abathur is more of an issue, if some of the other globals are a concern.
I mean, HeroesHearth, they know how to play Abathur themselves, and it's not just Arthalon, because it's BBJ. I mean, any number of players on this team could play Abathur. The other thing you have to consider is Tracer. Tracer loves open areas to work. And if there's not a lot of CC, direct CC on the other side, or protection options, as we saw with Endemic, Biggie ran rampant with a Tracer on this very battleground. That is something No Tomorrow has to be wary of.
And being in first pick position, that is a great spot to pick up the Malfurion and then force No Tomorrow to make some hard choices, because No Tomorrow has not played that Tracer yet. No Tomorrow might just ban it here.
Do they let the Abathur through? Abathur, it's weird because for HeroesHearth, after such a dominant game, Abathur compositions are usually slow starting. HeroesHearth ended that game pretty quickly. I don't think they need the Abathur unless it's strictly a denial pick, or unless you just want to practice it, because it's such a different pace Abathur games are. And what we've seen from teams, No Tomorrow's just going to ban it. Okay. I think that's a logical decision.
As do I. Malfurion or Johanna? Johanna. I feel like that, no, I say that. I was about to say they're the only team willing to first pick Johanna, but that is not true. We had one in the last game too.
Yeah, not anymore. And I believe it was when HeroesHearth played Octalysis that after getting beat by Johanna enough times, Octalysis like, you know what, to heck with it, I'm picking Johanna ourselves, and they had first pick, and it didn't work out, but it was clearly frustrating enough to play against, so.
It is a different age for competitive heroes. No Tomorrow now, Urel is still up. Do they take Blaze here? If they take Urel, HeroesHearth can just get Blaze again.
I mean,
is this worth the double global? Dahaka?
This is the one time where I'm totally cool if you want to go Dahaka Fallstead.
All right. The only duo that No Tomorrow has been able to win a game with in HGC of Phase 2. This is a practice duo. This is also, it wasn't on Dragonshire, but we saw that happen with Tempo Storm, and they lost a Tempo. They shored things up, they got a lot better with it, and they played very well with that Dahaka Falstad on Dragonshire versus Team Freedom, actually beat Team Freedom there. So this is one of the more practiced compositions that we're seeing No Tomorrow bring to the table versus HeroesHearth.
Well, for HeroesHearth, I mean, Blaze obviously has worked very well. I mean, this composition of Johanna Blaze, I mean, they've only lost one game, and it wasn't with that composition, so it gives them that. But with Yrel, maybe because you have double global on the other side, you might need quicker rotations. Another thing we have to look out for is McIntyre's Zeratul. Falstad is a juicy target for Zeratul players because even if you barrel roll away, you can still get Vorpaled on, and, well, there's no making it out. Instead, we're going to get Blaze.
We get Blaze Mouth. And now with the Mouth, I would be surprised if Tracer made it through the span.
Yeah. I don't see No Tomorrow picking up Tracer Falstad. That just seems way too squishy.
Yes.
And still, who you killing when you got Johanna Blaze on the other side and a Malfurion with Ice Block close 13? Bunker, I feel Tracer has to be banned here. Unless you just have some ultimate counter, and we have not seen a lot of teams prioritize that counter against her.
It was No Tomorrow who tried Cassia versus her, yes? Might have been LFM.
And no Cassia yet. I think it would have been LFM.
Didn't work. Having a Tracer that has that backup, one of her central backups, just feels like in the hands of the right player, and they've got two of them, Arthalon and Crowan. It's just too much.
There's still, as we saw at Midseason Brawl, there still is an outside shot that Arthalon could be on the Blaze, and there might be another melee that still mixes it in here. It's something that we saw at Midseason Brawl. We haven't really seen a lot of that since we've been back, since the more defined role seems like HeroesHearth is on a better track, but they still have the flexibility. And it was the #1 thing that I said from the inception of this team all the way through when they made it into HGC and through Phase 1 is the flexibility of this team is unlike any other team that we have, and it allows them to do things and react a little bit differently. I think when they finally reached that upper echelon of competition, they realized it doesn't always hold up. It's much more difficult to pull off that style against the top of the top. And so it seems like they're narrowing the focus a little bit more, which it was a good learning experience for them.
They have quite a bit. Muradin ban from HeroesHearth limits the amount of hammers, which we've talked about is very important for a team. But also just somebody who's tanky to sit on the point. Garrosh really didn't work out too well for Jin in the last game for No Tomorrow, but there's still other warrior options. Anything stand out to you that you'd like to see here?
Garrosh does not fit the mold here. Stitches does not fit the mold. Muradin's out. I don't see Jen as a Diablo player, and on this battleground, stacking souls is not easy. And it's slim pickings beyond that. I mean, it is very, I think Diablo seems like the more likely option.
There was another.
There's always another.
ETC has not had the easiest time in HGC North America. A lot of the Warriors have not. But it does offer another global possibility. I think it probably is going to be stage dive, but stage dive versus Malfurion, we have seen a lot of instances of that going south pretty quickly.
Just put a circle in a circle. That's it. That's all you got to do. Put a circle in a circle.
And then a triangle.
And then a triangle. I mean, the good thing is, I mean, you have the setup potential of Deckard. If he can land a good stay a while and listen, if a Malfurion, maybe we see Malfurion go Twilight Dream. The minute Malfurion steps forward, you can get that range, hit that, and then maybe get the power slide into something like a Mosh Pit if that is available, but that is difficult. Hanzo, we got to consider Hanzo here. I mean,
now that we see
Hanzo
ETC Li Ming too. You want both of them, Hanzo Li Ming, Octalis' style?
It's HeroesHearth. You know, I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, Phoenix is available. Hanzo, Li Ming.
Greymane though. Yeah.
I thought that was why the Muradin ban came in. Muradin was a denial, but Muradin, I mean, his Thunderclap does slow auto attack heroes when they come in, and Greymane does fit that mold. No Hanzo here.
It's still a fast hero for a boss. It's still a fast hero for camps, but also offers the sieging that Greymane can give, and a lot of teams have been taking advantage of that on Sky Temple.
No Tomorrow, they need some more damage, and they desperately need it. I mean, Phoenix seems like a very good pickup here. All around, it does well against this. Yes, it's another auto attack hero into Jaina, but your mage play has been subpar up until now. Jaina into this composition.
There's another auto attack hero.
That's not Hammer on Sky Temple. I mean, I guess Hammer kind of fits everywhere. I'm not feeling Hammer on Sky Temple.
It's the simplicity style of mass your globals and then pick your Sergeant Hammer. Has the Deckard Kane synergy. Still not feeling it?
I was hoping there was more to that.
I mean, okay, you can look at it this way. It's hard to take the team names out of the equation.
The hardest part is, okay, let's go to your point. Greymane can out-rotate, do more structure damage than Sergeant Hammer if left alone. Sergeant Hammer, however, could potentially get more. But then the minute you get down in structures to Heroes Hearth, on a map like Sky Temple, where you can avoid a team fight, religiously avoid team fights, and Sergeant Hammer has very slow rotations, then you just get out-rotated. You don't have the engagements that Sergeant Hammer needs in order to be effective. And then Sergeant Hammer, her impact is not felt in many, many ways. It's good in some ways, but Sky Temple has a different set of rules.
Depending on the temple, she will be able to do a lot of what we've seen on Volskaya Foundry, which is just sit around it and be able to provide a lot of poke. And maybe the thought is to just force back and slow things down while the globals can get a lot done. But it does feel like if No Tomorrow fall behind at all, then they're going to have a really hard time with this composition. They'll have the globals that keep them in experience, but not at all in the momentum, not really in the structure game either. And that's, on Sky Temple, everything.
For Sergeant Hammer, yes, damage is there, but the siege damage that you hope and expect for, I mean, that's good. That's 40% of a tower down. But you need a lot more than that. And I think that's the difficult part. They're actually going to use Johanna for the double lane rotation between bot and mid to kind of soak up for that. And they're just going to counter with a Blaze and a Greymane top. And this will inevitably win out heavily in favor of the Greymane if they choose to do so, but it looks like they're going to fall back. That 1 minute mark is the signal for camps to be picked up.
Get that camp and push this top lane hard. They know that No Tomorrow want to focus on this bottom lane, and so the faster that they can get some damage done in the top lane, because it's not until the second temple phase that you see the bottom temple. No Tomorrow is playing more for that mid game, and Heroes Hearth is playing to try to get a massive lead in experience so that No Tomorrow doesn't even ever get to that point where they are staying up in lead. And No Tomorrow are being pretty aggressive, especially bringing in Tomster for this camp.
Well, the camp, okay, look, I'm watching the mini-map, and they're like, you know what, forget it. We can give this up. They haven't got their second siege camp, and now the global. Falstad is going to be forced to fly top. But this is a camp that Jay Shrite on a Falstad, I guarantee you, if this goes down any bit quicker, this next wave is about to mount up. Shrite might be in trouble here. They will dive this. If Blaze hits a stun, I mean, this has to be responded to. They just gave up an entire wall, and they traded out what for it?
This was such a problem that Casanova on that hammer was brought up all the way from the bottom lane. This will let No Tomorrow get everybody into position for the first temple phase, but Heroes Hearth punished hard to get that. For No Tomorrow to get that camp, they sacrificed quite a lot from Heroes Hearth to do so.
Yeah, it's different when you can double up. If they had picked up their siege camp first and then come over, then you're looking at double siege camp and you're looking at potentially more overall siege damage. Instead, you trade out at a net loss because that Greymane pushing with that. The Greymane started to make his rotation down. They're like, wait a minute, there's nothing else pushing here, guys. And so Heroes Hearth just simply was like, well, we'll push our advantage, take this, and they did. I mean, they've amassed a lead. They've gotten control of this battleground, and if they control this top temple, that early game lead that you and I were discussing previously will look far more substantial.
No Tomorrow gets their bruisers in an effort to stop that, but there's going to be a little bit of time before this gets up there, and No Tomorrow can't really afford that time because so much of that front wall and the well are already gone. So they move on to the point. letting that camp push. We're going to see Greymane start to come up. Both of the temples, for a second, were held by No Tomorrow. Falstad has Wingman build, which is going to give him a lot of single target damage, maybe for one of those frontliners, but also Wingman to try to get more mercenaries in favor of No Tomorrow.
They're holding it for now. We'll see how long they can hold on here.
Oh
Jen,
my.
very close. Tomster, he's going to go ahead and use his Brush Stalker. Arthon, he's going to get dragged there. Nice condemn by Ishbu to disrupt this, but Shrite also flew up, which is leaving Blaze mid. All 5 members here of No Tomorrow. Both the Globals brought them up here, so they can't get down as easily.
Condemn nearly brought Casanova to his doom with an orb to follow it up. The old Johanna Li Ming synergy, S of Johanna, working out for Heroes Hearth. No Tomorrow's going to step back forward. They do not want to give up this fourth. They already gave up quite a lot, but now losing Deckard, Kane, Tomster trying to get out of here, trying to dodge skill shots if he can, and No Tomorrow can't even trade out the kill on Arthalon.
Well, that lead is now 1 level. McIntyre has already rotated mid. He's going to rotate bot. This fort is going to fall, and the lead is growing by the second here for Heroes Hearth, who is coming out, continuing that momentum from game number 1 and dominating this game.
McIntyre was working on the Giants aggressively, but willing to give that up, recognizing that with mid being dealt with, No Tomorrow could come down and cause trouble to him. But now after clearing out bottom, Heroes Hearth can return to taking that.
Holding it for now. The scroll goes in. Jin gets the slide over. It's contested, but just barely. Nice body blocks there. It was more the slow, because Dark Swarm was up, and it was more the slow. The body block would have been inevitable, but the slow there actually was enough. That's another takedown here for Heroes Hearth. 2 takedowns is all it's been, but the impact has definitely been felt as it's 9 and climbing to just now hitting 8 for No Tomorrow.
And if there was any hope for No Tomorrow to have control of this bottom lane, it would have to be now. They have been able to get these giant camps, but because No Tomorrow were forced up so fast with the structural damage that Heroes Hearth did with an early bruiser camp, they're not in the position that they wanted to be in this bottom lane, and they won't be in the position they want to be for that next temple phase, because Heroes Hearth is just about to hit heroic abilities.
I mean, Crowan just continuing to siege down.
Globals.
Yeah, this might be enough. They might actually get the takedown onto Crowan there, and they do. Nice play there for Tomster to come in. The setup by Jin, so communication is there. And now with the Sergeant Hammer, they need to force the initiative. There is 10 on the other side, but a lot of that damage is gone. Blaze showing top. Casanova will get some structure damage in. I mean, again, these fort walls don't necessarily net you the same amount of experience, but it is very crucial that they get some now.
That's one of those instances where No Tomorrow shows that they do have good punishment. They brought both of the globals where I think Heroes Hearth is just expecting them to be so worried about the soak up to 10 that they would want to keep them in lane and try to do some more. And that gives them the start on the tempo, but 10 isn't quite here yet for No Tomorrow. I think they're going to have to back off just for a little bit until those globals can give them heroic abilities.
It's definitely signs of life. I mean, they're not out of the woods yet. They're going to have to try and take a team fight. They're using both their globals to clear top. Falstad not mid. They're actually going to send ETC mid, which makes me think they either want to body soak that XP or they're preparing for stage dive. And they do instantly lock in that stage dive. So triple global, here it comes Falstad. When you see him make his way about midway down on the minimap, that's when you know they're going to try and pull in the team fight.
Blessed Shield hits ETC. Jin takes a massive amount of damage before the Root and the Lornado can stop that. 1 global, 2 globals. As the drag comes in, Malfurion falls.
So far, so good. That's the start that they need to stage dive in. Jin getting a little bit of heals, gets the power slide over. There's going to be the isolation. That's kill number 2. They are making use of these globals to confirm kills. And with 2 members down, it looks like they're going to turn their attention towards the boss.
Well, Blaze wasn't here to be able to provide that bunker, and that is the benefit of the double globals for No Tomorrow, is they can make those snap decisions, and it's more forgivable. You don't have to anticipate your opponent's rotations because you can show up in the blink of an eye as long as those cooldowns are available. Getting a boss here is a good first step. No Tomorrow are still behind in experience, though, because Heroes Hearth have done such a good job of controlling a lot of these temples and staying in lane for the soak.
Arthon ended up sneaking in, taking that bottom temple since nobody stayed on that point for No Tomorrow. No Tomorrow, they're going to start to rotate down. They've got to get back down here. Falstad, he's coming in. He's got to potentially gust if needed, but Tomster coming in for the fight.
In very deep, but BBJ dodges the drag, beautifully done, and the isolation misses. Now it's just a gust away to isolate Ishbu from the rest of the team. Using Iron Skin, though, and a zoning route allows him to disengage. Everyone gets away. No Tomorrow will get the fort, but HeroesHearth still maintaining an experience advantage just purely because of their excellent macro play.
I just look over at the minimap, and there's a little red head bobblehead looking guy on the mini. I don't know how to describe him, but I just see Blaze and I'm like, he's good. I mean, what's he really needed for, you know?
Just doing his thing.
Just chilling.
Well, it keeps No Tomorrow back with those globals. Like, ideally, when they go back into lanes after forcing out positioning, they're starting to push some towers, maybe using that wingman build to put some damage on a fort. Instead, it's constantly just responding to the push, responding to the push.
Trying to see, Falstad is currently at, he's got 2 stacks, so 10% damage, but he's sitting on 3 stacks right now for a potential turn-in. So we'll keep an eye on that as that goes on. Obviously, the more bribes that you get, the more wingman stacks you use, you get 5% bonus damage on that lightning rod.
Well, top bot temples, J-Hal. This is where a global composition played well can thrive.
Not going full on wingman as we see Boomerang picked up for the wave clear, but Giant Killer picked up at 13 to deal with some of the higher health pools between the Greymane, Blaze, and Johanna. But generally that single target damage does get super amped at 13 if you can keep that lightning rod on them, which is easier to do if you go the level 7 talent where you get extra range. But instead, you know, a diverse build here.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
For Jay Schritte.
It makes sense compositionally when you look at the other side. You need the wave clear, and you get that through your Boomerang, and then of course dealing with the high health pools of Giant Killer. It is a thing.
So less of the single target and more of the wingman, though you will get a little bit more based on that wingman, and then static shield, just in case anyone does come in and hope for a Falstad gank. No Tomorrow still falling behind that level that they've been behind for a lot of this game, but hanging in a lot better on Sky Temple versus HeroesHearth.
They have the advantage in kills. They have the numbers there, and it's just they got to get more out of it. I mean, they've clearly used their globals, and they've gotten multiple kills off of it. They're going to have to get a lot more. Right now, they're using ETC to be that global soak while there's multiple members up here. Iron Skin used. Curious if we'll see them try and turn this around. But Blaze and team are showing in that eye, in that vision, and that is enough to force them of No Tomorrow to go ahead and back off. Not willing to commit that global just yet as the threat of 16 here is the campus here, and HeroesHearth has a clear focus to get this top keep down. Yeah,
No Tomorrow is trying to bait HeroesHearth to stay in the top so that they have an advantage in how many bodies, how many lanes they're soaking at once. The ETC in the bottom, but they have to try to keep this keep alive, and it is all but dead.
16's not quite here. If they're closer to 16, they can definitely threaten this. Crowan just has to make sure. There's going to be Blessed Shield. That is one dead Falstad in the blink of an eye.
Tornado, I think, was what ended up stopping BBJ from being able to use his Twilight Dream. The keep still lives, still remains, but Blaze is trying to burn it down, and he will succeed. Taking that down gives catapult pressure to HeroesHearth Esports. As No Tomorrow wanted to be able to defend, but with a stun lock like that, a stun lock's that good, there's no way you're going to be able to gust back anybody.
No Tomorrow, again, has the globals. They made the play on the boss when they got those few kills earlier. And when you find yourself significantly behind on this battleground, it does force you to start to make desperate calls, and the boss might be one of those. It's 5 seconds away from spawning. But what HeroesHearth is doing here is they're willing to concede a little bit of that top temple, because what this will do is this will force No Tomorrow to come down and respond to the Siege Giants. There are a lot of globals, so it doesn't have the same effect that you would hope, but it definitely forces out a response. They started the boss, see the rotation down, and HeroesHearth, they have such a lead. that they're gonna concede this entire thing. So Heroes Hearth.
Watch Ishbu. Watch Ishbu. The minute he sets that Blessed Shield to kill, the follow-up with the Cursed Bullet is all she wrote. Now there's one kill. Casanova may get a knockback. They might get some damage down, but he's trying his best to move back. Gus to use. No Tomorrow seems to be in a mix of engaging and disengaging. They want to stay and see if they can get a kill. They've done a lot of damage to Heroes Hearth, but Heroes Hearth now gets a Twilight Dream. Great roots to set that up too from BBJ. Tomster's going to try to take away some of the damage, some of the skill shots. Going to burrow to save his own life and gets Jay Shrita out of there.
Heroes Hearth that did not play that flawlessly, a little bit of indecision, but the amount of time that they bought, those Siege Giants pushed all the way forward, continue to give the structure lead over to Heroes Hearth. And for No Tomorrow, they have to decide, do they want to contest the rest of that temple, or do they want to just make that boss call and see if they can just create all kinds of chaos?
They stopped the boss. They did stop Heroes Hearth from getting it. Jay Shrita's going to use that wingman. And now they see that Blaze is up in the top, and this is not a global for Heroes Hearth. They'll have Gust back in a few seconds. No Tomorrow sets their eyes on this boss. Another Blessed Shield, another Cursed Bullet. The Gust has to be used there by Jay Shrita, and it doesn't amount to a successful save to the ETC. Heroes Hearth, their synergy is severe that ETC is blown up that fast.
I have no words for that amount of damage. That is just obliterating them. McIntyre with the major flank. Tomster's going to get on point, does have Essence, but they're ripping his health bar apart. That's going to be kill number 1. Crowan, and that's going to be kill number 3, 4 of this, and they might not be done. Casanova, he's getting pulled back in. He's going to get the knockback, but with the damage already done in this bottom lane from those Siege Giants a couple of minutes ago, keep will fall. 20 is here, and Heroes Hearth, this might be the victory march.
They move far ahead of that boss to start working on the keep before anyone can spawn back up. There will be an ETC to try to help Sergeant Hammer to defend versus this, but as that keep falls and 20 comes into play for Heroes Hearth Esports, that makes it so much more difficult for No Tomorrow to try to save this.
Here comes the damage. Jin tries the stage dive out. Instead, he gets crucified right there in the middle of the team, and that is enough for Heroes Hearth to take down game number 1. And the sprays are out, but it's just for show at this point. It's the boss ripping apart that core. More kills coming in here. Heroes Hearth flexing again, just dominating this game.
The work that Heroes Hearth has been putting in is definitely seen in this match. They look so strong. And yes, you can say that No Tomorrow is a bit different caliber of an opponent as Octalysis from Heroes Hearth last weekend, but you can still see the adjustments, the synergy focus that McIntyre has been putting on communication of their cooldowns is near flawless, man. The blow up of those ETC alone is so scary from Heroes Hearth.
It is, I mean, it is a snap, like just you blind, you get that through. Is there a target there? Do you get the dismount? Yes. Instant deletion. Every single time. We've seen it with Johanna, Johanna Jaina, that combo, but now we see the Cursed Bullet used against ETC, who does get armor from using his abilities, but armor does not block percentage-based damage. And then it's a stationary target. Li Ming says, okay, and that's instant blow up every single time.
I wanted to see Heroes Hearth be that dominant with another composition, and though they still have the Johanna Blaze, proving with the Cursed Bullet, no matter what, as long as the setup's there, the blow up is coming in. And, you know, you and I and the concern of ETC, we both felt it from that. It's purely because of the execution of Heroes Hearth. But that's what happens when Jin's Heroes pool was messed with somewhat in the bans.
Well, that's our meta that we're in right now. The Muradin ban was so clutch.
Very good.
I don't even know if Muradin can really survive that type of combo if he can't get Avatar healing static off.
Or armor from Dwarf Toss.
Anything. But for Heroes Hearth, at what point do you just either first pick Johanna or flat out ban it? There's no world where I'm saying, Ishbu, you can have this. And then when I do that, I've got to make sure that whatever map I'm going to is not a Diablo map, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you have to look at